Hi guys, so now that I've finally finished Basic Witches, I can come on here and do my duo review of Practical Magic and Basic Witches. So, these are the witchy books. I don't know if you'll see this yet, I think the vlog will come out at the end of the month, but I have been trying to proper delve into witchcraft and everything that's involved with that to try and get more educated on it. And yeah, so I finally decided to try these out this month. This is only the first two of, I'm sure, many magical books that I'm hoping to pick up over my lifespan, I guess. It also accompanies my Spirit, Mind and Body magazine as well that I collect. But yeah, so I'm coming to do 2 reviews of these, so I hope you don't mind. So the first one I think I review is the one that I finished earlier on in the year. I think it might have been summertime, and this is Practical Magic by Nikki van der Kar, illustrations by Katie Vernon. So this is a beginner's guide to crystals, horoscopes, psychics and spells, and it says an enchanted introduction for casual clairvoyants and weekend witches. The spellbinding guide is a perfect initiation into the world of modern magic, from crystals and astrology to chakras, dream interpretation and of course a few spells. Filled with herbal remedies and sacred rituals, this stylish primer provides the foundation to bring the best of magic into your everyday. Chapters on healing, magic and fortune telling contain all the essentials for a mystical life, including enchanting plans for palm readings, tarot spreads and smudge sticks and more. So I ended up giving this a 4 stars because I found it to be just like the best in my experience. I mean, coming in as a beginner of sorts, it was one of the best books to ease me into it and to understand things at a nice pace and easily. So I definitely recommend this for beginner witches, whatever you identify yourself to be. This will probably give you a lot of the basics that you'll need to know. I found that the additional use of illustrations really helped to just enhance the teaching. Like, just for example, little illustrations of what things were, just to accompany it, and they had, let me show you something else, like beautiful sort of before title illustrations, but also that had that practicality of it, of showing you what they mean, where things are, that sort of stuff. It just really helped in the learning. I know that a lot of people are going to come into this video perhaps just wanting to read these casually and not taking it too seriously, but looking at it from a perspective that I feel I am sort of like a witch. I explain myself a bit more in the vlog that's coming out soon if you want to watch that, but I take this kind of like as something that's teaching me how to be a better me, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of how easy this was to understand. I mean, just looking at it, it's absolutely beautiful as well, so it's nice to have just that aesthetic, but the fact that it's filled with things that actually are very interesting and easy to digest in terms of knowledge, it just helps, you know. I actually felt like coming out of this book, it taught me about myself. Now it was a little while that I read this, but I wrote down what some of my findings to be about myself. So I found that I have like a mixture of blocked and overreactive chakras, specifically my solar plexus chakra. I just felt like it definitely described parts of my personality, and I don't know, I feel like to me that feels a bit like a worry and balance, because it's not really balanced at all. It's a mixture of things that possibly shouldn't be. So I don't know, I've taken steps, probably subconsciously as well as consciously, to try and clear those and make those a bit more pure, but it was nice that this kind of opened that knowledge for me to then be able to pursue it and sort it out, I think. I think the only reason that it didn't get that ultimate 5-star for me was the fact that it did get a little bit long-winded at times. It kind of went on, and I even found myself just losing touch or just lost. But yeah, as usual, you can see all my Goodreads reviews on Goodreads if you prefer a written review, and I don't mention everything that I say in the written reviews. But that is Practical Magic. I totally recommend this. So coming up next to that, we have Basic Witches by Jaya Saxena and Jess Zimmerman. I do apologise if I'm pronouncing those wrong, and this is one that I actually won from a good giveaway last year, I believe, and it says how to summon success, banish drama and raise hell with your coven. So it says give your life some hex appeal. Definitely more humour. The other book did have like a nice comic feel, just to make it feel fresh and fun to read, I guess. This one definitely has more of that. It says, tap into your inner sorceress and channel the dark arts with this magical lifestyle guide for everything from powering up a stylish talisman to banishing terrible Tinder dates. See what I mean? Like, it's got that humour there. Want to feel terrifyingly beautiful? Wear the right colour of eyeshadow to project otherworldly glamour. Need to exercise a toxic friendship? Repeat the proper incantation and make it disappear. Want to increase your energy? Whip up a tasty herbal potion to rev up your stamina. DIY projects, rituals and spells, along with fun historical sidebars, summon the best trends of the modern witchy lifestyle and the time-trusted traditions of the hell-raising women of the past. With humour, heart and a hip sensibility, JSXNR and Jess Zimmerman dispense witchy wisdom for the curious, the cynical and anyone who could use a magical boost. So these are both really lovely naked hardcover books. I do like a naked hardcover. Thought I'd just randomly mention that. It's just funny that they're both that, because I don't have a lot of naked hardcovers, and the fact that both the books that I want to talk about today are such versions, I don't know, it makes me chuckle, I guess. So in comparison to the first book I talked about, this one actually got sort of like a 3 stars from me. I didn't find it as enjoyable an experience as I found this one to be. So out of the two, in terms of like a beginner friendly book and one that's probably going to be more practical, excuse the pun, for you, I would definitely choose Practical Magic over Basic Witches. Yeah, so I'm glad that I'd read this one before I had read this one, because I can see the difference in quality, I guess, there. So this one actually took a very interesting take on witches. It sort of, I think I go into a bit more detail in my Goodreads review, but it sort of gives it a more modernised feel, and it tends to use witches as like a metaphor of sorts for basically just being you. But I don't know. It's difficult to form the words that I'm trying to say. But basically I did find, although that was interesting and quite empowering, it often, in my opinion, did it at the expense of the traditional historical witches. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it used it as a metaphor, which was cool, yeah, interesting, but not at the expense of kind of, you know, throwing away the history of what an actual witch was, if you know what I'm saying. I hope that's coming across as clear as I'm trying to stumble it out to be. Now, I want to make a note that the authors state multiple times that this is for anybody. You know, you don't have to be a woman to read it or necessarily identify as a witch. However, I did find that they had sort of like banter, jokes against the male gender. Sometimes it was like it was like a historical joke or whatever because of what had been done in the past, but other times it just felt like they were taking the piss a little bit. And I was like, well, if you're advertising this book to be for anybody to read, you shouldn't be making any kind of person feel like an inferior because of what they are. And I felt like this book did that, unfortunately, at times. And I think that's really the root and basis as to the main reason of why it didn't get a 5 stars or any higher than 3 stars. I think it mainly was because of that point. I really did like that there was a lot of different topics in this that related back to the witch in some way, and of course, you know, the metaphors that they were using were interesting and did make sense in some ways, that I enjoyed that. However, it definitely did feel like a magazine column. Sorry, I'm going out of focus. And you can definitely feel that the authors have that sort of background. I think both of them work on like online, yeah, one of them works at Elle.com, like a magazine, one of them works for like The Guardian and stuff like that, so you can tell it has that sort of vibe to it, which, I mean, I didn't prefer for something like this, but sometimes you can't help what your writing style is, I suppose. That's just something like a preferential sort of difference for me, I suppose. But the one thing that I really enjoyed about this was that it was saying you need to be you unapologetically, and I really did enjoy and adore that message, and that was really nice. It just didn't display itself in how I was expecting it, and I feel like it let itself down a little bit in terms of, I say this like in the slightest way possible, but bashing other people that aren't necessarily included in this. I don't know, I can't explain it very well. But those are my reviews of the 2 witchy books that I've read recently. As I already said, I definitely recommend Practical Magic over Basic Witches. However, if you have the opportunity to read both, make your own decisions. They're both good. I just find that this one to be better. But yes, thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read either of these, or if you have any recommendations, because I'm very much open to those. I'd love to find some more books about witchcraft and paganism and Wicca, history, more about anything that's going to teach me about this. I'd love to know. So thank you so much again for watching. I'll speak to you in another video soon. Bye.